Hey, I'm so glad you're here. We are jumping into Worldviews, which we'll do this week, and Dr. Bohlin will do Worldviews 2 next week. But we're laying a foundation of understanding three big buckets of people's beliefs that everybody in the world falls into one way or another. But first, let's talk about why we should study worldviews. What is that? What? It is a map. Woo! Excellent. Can anyone be more specific than that? What's it a map of? Can you tell?
Honolulu.
That's exactly right. Yep. That's Honolulu, which is very helpful if you are in Hawaii. What kind of helpfulness does this map give you if you are in Plano, Texas, and you want to know how do you get to downtown Dallas? Is that of any use whatsoever? Why?
Not the map.
What?
It's not the map of Dallas.
It's not a map of Dallas. It'll tell you where you want to go someplace else, but not where you are. And so we need to study worldviews so that we have an understanding of where we are and how to get to where we want to go. So this is helpful if you want to know how to get to Diamond Head, which if you ever see, what?
Hawaii 5-0.
Thank you, Hawaii 5-0. You know, you see that a lot. But what happens if you want to know other things like how do you get to heaven? How do you have a blessed life? What do you do with the pain in your life? You know, a map like this isn't very good. And so we need to have the right kind of map. We need to have the right kind of worldview. So the reason we want to study worldviews is that a worldview is a way of seeing, and it's our theory of reality. It's how we make sense of the world. Do any of you have any younger brothers or sisters? Okay. Do you remember when they were like little bitty toddlers, babies? You were around enough to pay attention to them? When kids go from being a newborn into being an older toddler and a young child, they're making sense of reality. They're making sense of the world. They have to figure out things like, okay, some things you can eat and other things you can't. You can eat an apple. You can't eat a toy. Those types of distinctions in your mind is how you form a worldview on a very basic level. And so we start, when we're little bitty, starting to figure out how things work. When a worldview gives us a way to understand ourselves and a way to understand other people. So often we can understand where other people are coming from better than they can if they haven't examined what it is that they believe. A worldview helps us make sense of the world and categories and what's true and what's not. There's a lot of things going on in our culture that really don't make a lot of sense. One thing that's really big is the wrong belief that you can be born in the wrong body. And you know, you may be a boy on the outside, but you feel like you're a girl on the inside. And if you feel like a girl on the inside, you are a girl. But that's a lie. It's not true. And you can't make sense of the world with that mindset. Things just aren't the way the people pretend that they are. So we need a worldview that's consistent with reality. If we have the wrong worldview, it produces confusion and chaos. For example, if you're a little kid who thinks that if it fits in your mouth, you can eat it, that's going to cause problems. What if somebody believed that all Legos, when you break them down into small enough components, if you can swallow it, it must be food? what happens then?
They're
What?
malnourished.
What?
They get
They would be malnourished. What would happen before they become malnourished?
Probably choke.
Yeah, they could definitely choke. What if they went ahead and it went down their esophagus and, kind of got stuck there? I was just watching an ER show the other day about somebody, a kid who should have known better, who swallowed a quarter, and you see it on the X-ray. What do you have to do if you swallowed a Lego or a quarter? What?
Surgery?
Most probably, yeah. Can you just leave it there? No, it doesn't work very well. So you've got confusion and chaos if you don't think correctly about reality. What is a worldview? We really like the definition of somebody named James Sire, who wrote a very wonderful book called The Universe Next Door. And he says that a worldview is a set of presuppositions. Let's look at that word before we go any further. What is the root word of presuppositions? What's in the middle? What word?
Suppose.
Suppose. And what does suppose mean? This is not a trick question. If you suppose,
What they think
yeah, it's how you think. What is pre? What does that mean?
before.
Before. So a presupposition is things that you think about before you even think that you're thinking. They're just there in place. It's ideas and assumptions, which is what it has there in your outline. Assumptions that are just there, and you don't think about it. So a worldview is a set of presuppositions which we hold either consciously or subconsciously about the basic makeup of our world. So it's ideas about how things are and how things work. Everyone has a worldview, whether you can explain it or not. Until you take a class that involves the concept of worldview, most people don't even realize that they have one. But everybody does. And the fact that we're going to be talking about worldview for a couple weeks moves you ahead of the game in terms of everybody else, because you'll have a level of understanding that other people don't. A worldview is like a pair of glasses through which one views the world. So Andrew's got glasses. Do any of the three of you have contacts? No. Okay, I do.
I don't.
No, Dr. Bohlin is not about to put anything in his eye, but I like having contacts. What if I popped out my contact lenses and Andrew took off his glasses and we swapped? And I would say, put my contacts in your eye and I'll wear your glasses. Would that work?
No.
Why?
Different people have different prescriptions.
Different people have different prescriptions. That's right. If we did swap, how accurate would our vision be?
Not good. Not good.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
No.
You'll happen to have the same prescription.
That's exactly right. If we had the same issues with our eyes and the same prescription, it would be fine. But what it usually means is things would be blurry, and not just blurry, but probably the floor would look like it's 2 feet farther down than it really is, and it would really be a mess. If you have the wrong worldview, that's like having somebody else's prescription. It would be a really bad thing. You wouldn't be able to see life accurately. If we don't have the right prescription, reality is distorted. I really like that word, because unfortunately there are a lot of people who have the wrong worldview, meaning it's not consistent with the reality that God made, and everything is wrong. Everything's twisted. It's distorted. And we want to show you what that looks like. Dr. Bohlin is going to assist me with something. We have a set of what we call beer goggles. They are, it's a tool for helping people who are learning to drive, if they're taking driver's ed. You can put these glasses on, and it's a prescription that makes it look like you're drunk.
It makes you feel like, what you see
That's right.
gives the appearance of it having...
They give you the perception of drunkenness without actually drinking anything at all. So it's very enlightening. Do you know anything about drunkenness, what impact it has on people? Have you ever seen anybody on TV, of course, never in real life, who is drunk? What does it look like? What do you see? What do they do?
Just like wobble around.
Yeah, wobble.
Half-conscious type.
Yeah, stagger around. Do they bump into things? They often do. Well, we've got an experiment for a couple of you.
I need a volunteer. There you go.
Okay, Daniel.
Stand over there. Now, first I have to determine that you can actually catch a ball. Okay? So there we go. That's easy enough. Okay. Pull it off to the side a little bit. There you go. Oh, one-handed even. Cool. How about if I bounce it to you? Oh. Didn't bounce as high as you expected, huh? There. Ready? I think you can catch the ball. Okay, now put these on.
Tell us what you see.
I see two of you.
There's just one here. How do you know which one's going to throw the ball? There you go. You did that a lot easier the first time. Okay, off to the side there. Oh, yeah, you didn't get it that time either. Well, let's see. Let's try bouncing it, okay? You tried to get out of the way, didn't you? Now, we'll give you one high. Yeah, there. Okay, anybody else want to try? How about Faith?
Sure.
I pointed right at you and you didn't even change your expression. Okay, now give me the goggles here. And I'll keep them over here. Good enough. Oh, well, maybe not so far off to the side, huh? Let's see, how about if I bounce it to you? There you go. You have to get it farther enough. How about a high one? Oh, that's not going to work well either, huh? Okay. When you get old, bending over, bending down is not as easy as it once was. I grunt a lot.
Okay, what do you see?
I see everything the same. It's just the bottom's just blurry.
Oh, you don't see double?
No, I don't see double.
Oh,
Okay, can you move them up?
move them up a little higher.
Is it
No
still
change?
double?
Okay, I'll give you a real easy one to catch here, okay? I gave you an easy one. Come on, Faith. Okay. Let's bounce this one. What about you, Andrew?
I'll try.
You'll try? Okay.
I'm a juggler, but
You're a juggler. Well, that's not going to matter
it's
here.
not gonna matter.
Not going to matter.
I'm not very good at catching anyways.
Huh?
I can just juggle. I'm not very good at catching.
No. Now he says he's not very good at catching.
I'm not very good at catching.
Well, if you're a juggler, you got to be good at catching, right?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
Okay. Good enough? Okay. There you go.
Does it fit on my glasses?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, everything's different to double.
Everything's different?
There's like everything's double. I
Okay.
don't think I can actually see like anything.
Well, you can, well,
I can't even visualize anything.
am I here?
I can't see the ball in your hand.
Well, that's not the important, can you see me?
I can see like you, but like super blurry. I'm not even gonna notice you throwing the ball.
Well, how about taking the, your glasses off?
Yeah, let's try that.
Try it that
I
way.
can't even notice like I'm not holding the ball.
You're looking through two different sets of lenses.
Okay, this is a little bit more coherent.
A little more coherent. You ready?
Yeah. Okay.
You see me?
Kind of.
Kind of?
Oh, I got it.
Oh! How about off to the side there? Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, try to find the ball with those outside.
It's so good.
On the doubles, if I look at the left, I actually sometimes could get closer to catching it. Like,
Underhand, underhand.
Where was it?
Well, hey, well, let's see. It hit on the.
I'm definitely not driving with these things on. I can't.
Good.
Can't see, huh?
I can't catch this.
All right.
I'm definitely not driving.
There's one of you left. Want to try?
Why not?
Why not?
There we
Oh,
go.
oh, wait.
I can't throw good even without them.
You what?
I can't throw good even without them.
You don't feel good? Okay, give it easy toss there. There we go. You ever play catch of any kind? No? A little off to the side. Ooh. How about if I bounce it once? Okay. There you go. Good job. Now,
Thank you.
Okay, what do you see?
I don't even know.
well, can you see me?
Barely.
Am I here? Okay. Here comes the ball.
I saw a lot of colors too, like green and yellow and blue.
Well, let's try that same thing again. Just right at you.
I'm definitely not driving with these things on.
How about I bounce this one? Let's see. Okay. Had enough?
Yes.
The point is made.
Yep.
Where'd you get those glasses?
Thank you.
Where'd you get those glasses?
We ordered them online. Okay, so here's the thing. What changed in the room when you put the glass on? What actually in the room changed, Daniel?
Seeing doubles and then random colors and blurry.
Okay, but in the actual room,
Nothing.
nothing
Except
changed?
for I had the goggles on.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
So nothing in the room changed before you put the glasses on as opposed to after. It was the glasses that changed, and it made a difference in how you reacted to the ball coming at you. And that's it gives us an example of what's going on with worldviews, because God makes one reality. And if you have the wrong set of beliefs, it's like having the beer goggles on. Reality is reality, but you're not perceiving it accurately, which is why we're so glad that you are here in this class, because what we're going to be doing all year is talking about a biblical view of reality, because it lines up with how God made things. So we always enjoy playing with the beer goggles just to show you how important it is to have an accurate worldview. Let's talk about 4 inescapable truths. The first one is that something exists. This is not an illusion. This is not a matrix. What's going on really does exist here. I was teaching about this one time at a Disciple Now weekend in Pensacola, Florida. And a guy came up to me, he was 17, he said, I don't believe that it's true that something exists. I think this is all an illusion, and none of it is real. So I hit him. I slugged him in the arm. And he looked at me like, what did you do that for? And I said, well, it's not real. There's nothing here. And he looked at me like, well, I don't know what to do with it. I said, dude, this is real. I really did hit you. You really did feel that. That was not an illusion. Later on, when we were talking about the differences between guys and girls, which we'll talk about in several weeks, he came up to me again and he said, I don't think there's any difference between guys and girls. There's just no difference whatsoever. I said, oh, do you treat your friends who are girls the same way you treat your friends who are boys? And he said, oh yeah, treat everybody the same. I said, you have friends that are girls? He said, yeah. I said, come back and talk to me in several years. We'll see if that works out really well for you. Because if you treat guys the same way you treat girls, it's not going to go well for you. Your view of reality is skewed. But it all started with him believing that nothing existed. The second inescapable truth is that something can't be true and false at the same time. In logic, they call this the law of non-contradiction. Something A cannot be non-A at the same time in the same way. We can't have two opposites both be true at the same time. This is going to become real important next week when we start talking about the Eastern religions, because they have no trouble believing that two complete opposites can both be true, and they just can't be. The third inescapable truth is that all people have absolutes. Something that is the top of the line in terms of what is important to you. For some of us, it's God or the Bible. For others, it's love, however you choose to define it. Could be power. How do you get your way in the world and with other people? And some people think it's themselves or mankind in general, but all people have absolutes. There's something that is important all the time. And then we also, the fourth inescapable truth is that all people exercise faith. Dr. Bohlin, I'm going to need your assistance.
Yes.
I need you to move the camera so that we capture me.
And what?
If you could just pick it up and pull it back.
Okay.
I need to capture what I'm doing. Okay, back it up a little bit more.
Okay.
All right. Okay, do you have me?
Yeah.
Right here? Okay. All right. I'm going to show you two different scenarios, and I want you to try to figure out what the difference is, okay? Here's the first one. Okay, that's the first scenario. Ready? Whoops. Here's the second scenario. Okay, what's the difference? Daniel?
In the first one, you had no faith in the chair. They talked about this at Worldview.
Oh yeah?
So you had no faith, whereas in the second one, you just believed that the chair was manufactured properly and wouldn't collapse.
Here we go. It was all about, well, what's the difference in my perspective, my worldview, my belief system?
You didn't trust the men, that the people who made the chair did a good job.
Yeah. Didn't even think about it the second time. Very, very cautious and suspicious the first time. Very different perspective. This fourth inescapable truth is that all people exercise faith. In the second scenario, I had faith that the chair would hold me up. Didn't even think about it. And you've got people who will try to tell you that they don't have faith. They only believe in science. But I don't do faith. But here's the thing. When the person that says they don't believe in faith, they only believe in science, when they go to the grocery store and they're going down the aisle in the Mexican food aisle and they want to make some burritos, and they grab a can of refried beans and they throw it in their cart and they go buy it, do they ever pull out a can opener and open it up to make sure that there's refried beans in there? Ever? Does anybody ever take a can opener to the grocery store? No. What are they doing when they go to the grocery store?
Exercising faith.
Why?
Because they're just assuming that it has beans in it.
That the cover is, that the label.
That the label, whatever is on the label, is what's inside the can. People have faith in that. They don't even think about it. It's a very natural thing to exercise faith. God made us to be people of faith. He made human beings to be people of faith. By the way, I understand that some years ago, there were some refugees from Africa that came to the United States, and of course we have an insane number of choices in our grocery stores compared to the rest of the world. And they were told that you can usually know what's in a jar or a can or a container. If there's a picture on the label, they'll give you an idea of what's inside. And so there were some people who were very surprised when they went and got a great big can, a 3-pound can of Crisco shortening, and there was a picture of fried chicken on the label. And they got it home and they were ready for some fried chicken, and they opened it up and there's this white lard looking stuff. Nope. Just because there's a picture on the label doesn't mean that what's inside is actually what there is. It helps to be able to read English. I also learned that there were these same people were in the baby food aisle, and they saw a little jar with the face of a baby on it, and they went, "Oh no, there's ground up baby in there." It's like, no, it was peaches. It was just a picture of a baby. You can't always go by that assumption that the picture on the label is what's inside. Okay, there are 3 big questions that all worldviews answer. The first one is, where did we come from? And a biblical perspective, we call that the creation part of worldview. Secondly, why are things so messed up? And our answer for that is the fall, because sin entered the world. And the third question, well, how can it be fixed? And we call that redemption. And Jesus is going to make everything right again. There are 6 major worldview questions, and the answers to these questions are what show us what worldview people believe. What I'm going to do here is go through the 6 questions and give you the big picture of what different worldviews answer, how they answer these questions. And then next week, we're going to go into depth about the 3 major worldviews. But this time, I just want to give you the great big picture about how different worldviews answer these really basic questions about life. Here are the 6 questions. How do you know that you know? Secondly, why is there something rather than nothing at all? Third, how do you explain human nature? Why are we so good at sometimes and so horrible at others? Fourth, how do you determine what is right or wrong? Fifth, what happens to a person when they die? And sixth, what is the meaning of history? So now I want to give you all the major answers from the major worldviews, and so you can see what a wide range of answers there are to these questions. The first one, how do you know that you know? Well, one way we can know is just by thinking. We can figure things out on our own. Another one is observation. What is observation?
We see what's around us and we observe.
Yes, it's about looking, seeing, figuring things out because of observing. What do you know about a famous scientist who observed something about apples? Does that ring a bell at all? What, Amara?
I forget his name.
Isaac?
Isaac Newton.
What happened? What did he do?
An apple fell on his head.
And what did he discern from that?
He assumed that there was gravity.
Yeah, so what was it about gravity that he noticed by the apple falling?
That whenever something falls, it doesn't go up into the air, it goes down.
That's exactly right. Or it doesn't go sideways. It always falls toward the earth. We still don't know why gravity works the way it does. We still don't understand it, but he was the one that worked out this idea of gravity, and it all started with observation. And then there's experience, because stuff happens and it can change us, but it can change the way we view the world. I want to show you one of my favorite videos about how we can learn some things from experience. He can't read. Why is he turning the can?
Let's see what's on the cover. What's the picture?
That's so good. I gotta show this to you again.
Uh-oh, something's wrong.
So what is that in the can, do you know?
Cocoa powder, like in powder form.
Yeah. Is there any sugar in it? No.
It's also very dry.
Oh, it's very dry.
Oh, that's terrible.
Coming out his nose.
I love that.
My question is, did his parents let him do this while they videoed?
Probably.
Like
They were
they
videoing
just
it, yeah.
watched.
I think
It's
that's,
terrible.
and I'm so glad they did, because I've been seeing this for years and it cracks me up every single time. So he learned from experience that that kind of cocoa is not good to eat raw. But there's another type of another type of knowing things is through revelation, where God tells us something outside the box, outside we can't think it, we can't observe it, we can't experience. God tells us something we can't know any other way. And so we've got a couple of scriptures, starting with 2 Timothy 3:16. Faith, would you read that?
All scripture is God-breathed and useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness.
Okay, so God reveals stuff to us through the Bible, through the Word of God. Daniel, would you read 2 Peter 1:21?
Yes. For prophecy never had its origin in the human will, but prophets, though human, spoke from God as they were carried along by the Holy Spirit.
Okay, so prophets are another way. God tells prophets what to tell people. Here's the second worldview question. Why is there something rather than nothing? How did this universe get here? So one way of explaining it is that everything came from nothing at all. First there was nothing, and then poof, it popped into existence. Nothing made it come into existence. It came into existence all by itself. So everything came from nothing. Another answer is that everything had an impersonal beginning. There wasn't anybody who caused creation to come into existence. Somehow it did by some force or movement, but not a person. It was an impersonal beginning. Another answer is matter is eternal. It's just always been here. There is no question of origin. There is no question of how did it get here. It's just always been there. As a matter of fact, when we were born, that's what people were believing. And Dr. Bohlin's in my lifetime, we have discovered that matter is not eternal because of the way that planets and galaxies are all moving away from each other. It's clear that, oh, that's directional. If we wind the clock backwards, it all comes back to one point where all of a sudden the universe exists. Matter was not eternal. There was a time when there wasn't anything at all that was physical. And then here's the Christian theistic perspective. Everything had a personal beginning. There was a personal God who created the universe. Amara, would you read Genesis 1:1? It's on your outline as well.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
There we go. And then that is echoed in John 1:1 in the New Testament. Andrew?
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
There we go. And then we find out in Colossians 1:13 through 17 who it was that actually did the creating. Faith, would you read that?
For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins, the Son of the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together.
Thank you. So Jesus, the Son, was the one who actually did the creating. The third question is, how do you explain human nature? Why are people the way they are? Well, one way is by saying that every baby is born as a blank slate. There's nothing going on. People become whatever society and culture and their experiences write onto their mind and their soul inside. And so there's nothing intrinsic about anybody. It's just people become what other people make them to be. Another answer is that people are inherently good. Every baby comes into the world perfect and good and wanting all good things and to be a good person, and that's just the way people are. And then stuff happens. But we are inherently, you all believe that, right? Intrinsically good. We start out good. Another answer is we are an evolved social animal, that it started, life happened all by itself, And then through evolution, simple things became more complex over time, and mankind has evolved, and we're just animals, and we became the way we are through evolution. This year you are going to hear a lot about evolution and creation, intelligent design. And you're going to, Lord willing, by the end of the year, you are going to have an understanding of how God created the world and us and left his fingerprints all over it. And then this is the one that a Christian theists teach, that we as human beings were created to be an image bearer. God made us in his image, but we have a fallen nature. Ever since Genesis 3, when Adam and Eve sinned, we crashed and burned. So we have this beautiful goodness that's there because we are made in the image of a beautiful, good God. But the fallenness was like an infection of sin. So we're capable of doing great things and terrible things. Daniel, would you read Genesis 1, 26 and 27?
Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the flesh in the sea and the birds in the the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them.
There we go. The very first chapter of Genesis tells us that God made us in his image and he made us male and female, which absolutely closes down the question of how many genders are there. God made people in two genders, male and female. Amara, would you read James 3:9?
With the tongue we praise our Lord and Father, and with it we curse human beings who have been made in God's likeness.
So we see that God made us in his image in the Old Testament, in Genesis 1, and in the New Testament in the book of James. Andrew, what about Romans 3:23?
For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God.
So that explains the fallenness in people. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So we have the goodness of being made in the image of God, and we also have the fallenness. The fourth worldview question, how do you determine what's right or wrong? And one answer is, well, it depends. Everything's relative. Some things could be okay in one situation and not in another. There's probably a circumstance under which it would be fine to torture and murder innocent 2-year-olds. Given the right culture, there must be a reason, a time when that would be okay. Everything is relative. Another answer is that everything is determined. This is a mechanistic universe that we live in, and everything is like part of a machine. And nobody's making choices. You do what has been determined. Another answer is an is an ought. If something exists, well, that's just the way it ought to be. And that means that it's going to be bad for some people and good for some people, and some are going to be rich and some are going to be poor, and the way it is, just that's the way it ought to be. Another one is that might makes right. Basically, this is where bullies get their way because they're more powerful than other people. So whoever has the most power and influence over others gets their way. That's how you determine what's right or wrong. And then the biblical perspective is revealed absolutes. God tells us what's right and wrong. It comes from the outside. So whose turn is it to read? Faith, would you read Romans 1?
Yes. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all godliness and wickedness of people who suppress
Godlessness.
godlessness and wickedness of people who suppress the truth by their wickedness, since what may be known about God is plain to them because God has made it plain. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. For although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, but their thinking became
Futile.
and their foolish hearts were darkened. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images made to look like a mortal human being, and birds and animals and reptiles.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, so big important question. What happens to a person at death? One answer is, well, they just cease to exist. Extinction. They go extinct. That person goes extinct. As people have said, you die in your dirt. That's all that happens, because there isn't anything after death. There is no spiritual dimension at all. People just stop existing. Secondly, is the idea of reincarnation, which we will talk more about next week, that where you're in this body, in this lifetime, and depending on what kind of life you live during this time on earth in this body, when you die, the essence of who you are will be put into a new body, a different kind of body. If you weren't a very good human being, you might be put into an animal body. If you were a really rotten human being, or if the animal was a bad animal, you might become a bug in your next incarnation, in your next body, embodied experience. If you do the best you can and you try to be a good person, then the next time you come back, you may be up higher on the evolutionary ladder of from bugs to people. We'll talk a little bit more about reincarnation in the future. And then the other alternative is that there is an afterlife. You don't become somebody else in another body, but after you die, either everybody goes to heaven or everybody goes to either heaven or hell. Heaven or hell are the two choices. There are a lot of people don't believe in hell. They just believe that everybody goes to heaven. And then the sixth question is, what is the meaning of history? Well, there are a lot of people that think it's meaningless. Everything's random. Why are you even looking for patterns and purpose behind it? Or maybe it's circular. Everything goes around again and again like one big merry-go-round. From the time of cavemen till now, it's just all one big circular repetition. A biblical perspective is that it's a linear, there's a timeline starting with creation, ending in Genesis 1, ending with Revelation, the end of Revelation. It's a linear unfolding of God's purposes. There's a beginning and an end with Christ's earthly life in the middle, which is why we call our dates BC, before Christ, and AD, Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord. Christ is in the middle of human history. So, that's our introduction to Worldviews, the really big picture, the 35,000-foot version. And next week, Dr. Bohlin will explain to you the three major buckets of Christian theism, which is what we believe, pantheism, which is the belief that all is one and all is God. There is no ultimate. Okay. And then naturalism. There is nothing supernatural. There is no God. There's no spirits. Nothing. It's just this physical world. So.